All right, Jett Lawrence, we're gonna talk about him again. His performance this weekend, Indianapolis won again, just like what was that, Houston too. It was a little insane. It was a little ridiculous. If you didn't watch it, he got about the worst start you could possibly get. Not quite sure what happened. Super weird. He was in about 10th place going over the finish line on the first lap, and then like a few laps later, made a ridiculous mistake on the wall. He was in, I think, 7th place at that time. Went all the way back to 12th again from that, and then had quite the deficit that he had to make up. So it looks like lap 5, his lap time was about 6 to 7 seconds slower than a normal lap time. And that put him back to about 16 seconds off of the lead. Now, if you don't know what happened, he almost got second place. Going into the second last corner, him and Craig got together. It was a little weird. Not entirely sure what actually happened to make them both go off the track as bad as they did. Craig hit the hay bale, fell over, caused Lawrence to stall the bike. He had to start it back up, and he got 4th, I think. Yeah, 4th. So even if he didn't catch all the way up to almost getting second, and he ended up getting 4th at the end of the race, I would have said that was a ridiculous performance. But the fact that he almost got second makes it even more ridiculous. If you look at his lap times between him and Nichols, who was in first, Nichols was actually faster for the first half of the race, and then the second half of the race is when Jett really started to pick it up, and at some points was over a second lap faster than Colt. So Colt had a pretty big lead, so I don't know if he kind of settled into his pace or not, but for sake of argument, I'm going to say that he didn't, and that Jett just picked it up and started going a lot faster. Let me actually look. If you look at Colt's lap times, yeah, maybe he did. He went from a 48 to doing 50s and 49s. So he could have backed it off. But again, for sake of argument, I'm going to say he didn't, because I want to see if they had the same amount of time in the race as a 450 rider, as the 450 guys do. I want to see if it's possible that Jett could have caught up all the way to first. So again, for sake of argument, we're going to say Colt Nichols, halfway through the moto, for some reason, started going slower, and Jett started catching him quite a bit. Not because he just decided to slow down. We're just going to say that. So what I did is I took their lap times, and I took the total time of their original race. I took out Jett's last lap, because obviously that lap time is not very representative of his previous ones. So I took laps 15 through 19, so the 5 laps. I averaged those, and I'm just, for the sake of the argument, I'm going to say that Jett is able to do those lap times, that average lap, for the rest of the moto. And then for Colt, I also took lap 15 through 19, averaged them, and I said that that would be his average lap for the rest of the race. So with that, for the rest of the race, with Colt being on that pace that he was at, they would have ended up doing 26 laps, because on lap 25, they would have gotten the white flag. The 450 guys did 27 laps, so the 450 guys were going super fast. And Jett would have been averaging about 1.1 seconds a lap faster than Colt. At the end of lap 19, he was 7.6 seconds behind Colt. So with those averages of lap times for the rest of the main, for the 20 minutes plus 1 lap, 26 laps, Jett would have maybe passed him on the last lap. I think that's kind of a cool thing to look at, to see if these guys were given the same amount of time that 450 guys are. A lot can happen in those last 5 minutes. It's a little crazy. And I wanted to see just how crazy Jett's performance was, because I haven't seen somebody make their way through the pack like this for seems like a long time. I'll have to look back at last year to see what kind of comebacks Tomac was able to do. But the biggest one that I can think of in my mind is obviously the one that everybody thinks of when they think of a comeback ride, and that's probably Stewart 2014 Toronto. Absolutely ridiculous. But when it comes to the 250 class, I haven't really seen a comeback like this in quite a while. And it's a little ridiculous that Jett was actually able to do this, especially with his first 5 laps being as bad as they were, that he was able to regroup and get everything under control and make that charge. It was super fun to watch live. For those of you that joined me when we were watching it live, it was pretty crazy. And again, this just kind of reinforces that Jett Lawrence is the future of the sport, like I said earlier. And he's just a gnarly dude, and I really like the emotion that he showed after the race. These guys, for some reason, they don't want to show emotion. I'm not really sure why. I understand in cases like with Roxon right now where he's just, for himself, he's trying to change his mentality and be a little bit calmer. He's learning that for him, it's better. But for a lot of these guys, they show emotion at all times except for when the camera's on. And for Jett to show a bit of emotion on camera was kind of nice, to show that these guys just aren't robots, and him thanking the fans. That was a cool moment. I liked that. Unfortunately, 4th place with Nichols getting first doesn't help his championship hopes at all, and just puts him in a bigger hole than he was already in. But I still feel like this championship is more than alive, especially if he can put in rides like this again in the future, which it's kind of seeming like he will. I don't know. I just thought it was cool to put this into terms of a 450 main to see if he was given more time, he quite possibly could have caught Nichols in first, because I don't feel like Craig would have protected the inside as aggressively as he did, and Jett wouldn't have pushed to pass like he did with 2 corners to go. Jett could have gotten around Christian much easier, and then he would have had a free track in front of him, not trying to pass people too, which he could have been going even faster. I don't know. I liked putting this into the terms of a 450 race, just to see that extra 5 minutes is crazy. How much it can actually affect the race. And yeah, I don't know. This video, it literally doesn't matter at all because it's all hypothetical and it's all based off of me. It's just something that I wanted to try. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video that literally doesn't matter. Again, Lawrence is gnarly. Nichols is gnarly. Craig is gnarly. Shimoda's gnarly. Mosiman's gnarly. They're all gnarly. 2021 is pretty dang good so far.